Welcome to Request for Inspection. Sit back, relax, and concentrate, as the coming crime recap is not for the faint-hearted. Meet Lin Jun, an international student in Montreal who in 2012 was killed, dismembered and partly consumed. The whole diabolical event was recorded by the perpetrator and uploaded to social media. Surely there couldn't exist such a twisted mind to carry out such a heinous crime. Right? Wrong. Meet Canadian pornographic actor and model, Eric Clinton Kirk Newman, who decided to change his name to Luka Magnotta. The new name was one he chose himself, meant to purge all of his bad memories. In 2003, he began to appear in gay pornographic videos, occasionally working as a stripper and a male escort. The killing of Lin Jun. Lin Jun was also known as Justin Lin. He was an international student from Wuhan, and an undergraduate in the engineering and computer science faculty at Concordia University. He was a dedicated and focused man. He worked part-time as a convenience store clerk in Pointe-Saint-Charles. Lin had been studying in Montreal since July 2011. He moved into a Griffintown area apartment with a roommate on May 1. Strangely, he was last seen on May 24, 2012. His boss became suspicious that he did not show up for his shift the next day. 3 of his friends decided to head to his apartment on May 27. They found an empty apartment with no trace of Lin. They finally reported their friend missing to police on May 29, 5 days since he was last seen. It would turn out that Lin's lust for homosexual activity would lead to his eventual downfall. Rewind back to May 25, which was a day after Lin's disappearance. An 11-minute video titled "One Lunatic One Ice Pick" was uploaded to bestscore.com. The gruesome video was depicting a naked male tied to a bed frame, and being repeatedly stabbed with an ice pick and a kitchen knife, then dismembered, followed by acts of necrophilia. The perpetrator uses a knife and fork to cut off some of the flesh and gets a dog to chew on the body. During the video, the 1987 New Order song True Faith plays in the background, and a poster for the 1942 film Casablanca is visible on the wall. Canadian authorities were able to obtain a more extensive version of the video and confirmed that Magnotta had committed acts of cannibalism on his victim. What on earth drove Magnotta to perform such sadistic acts? It was found that materials promoting the video appeared online at least 10 days before the murder took place. This meant that Magnotta had been planning this horrific crime well in advance. Something was clearly not right in Magnotta's head. On May 26, an attorney from Montana attempted to report the video to Toronto police, his local sheriff, and the FBI, but the report was dismissed by officials. BestScore viewers also attempted to report the video. Police finally took a closer look into the reports. Sadly, they later confirmed the video footage to be authentic and even identified the victim, an Asian male, as the same one whose body parts were sent to Ottawa. At 11 a.m. on May 29, 2012, a package containing a left foot was delivered to the national headquarters of the Conservative Party of Canada. The package was stained with blood and had a foul smell. It was marked with a red heart symbol. Another package containing a left hand was intercepted in a Canada Post processing facility, addressed to the Liberal Party. A janitor discovered a decomposing torso inside a suitcase, left in a garbage pile in the alley behind an apartment building in the Snowdon area of Montreal. After searching the scene, police recovered human remains, bloody clothes, papers identifying the suspect, as well as sharp and blunt objects from the back alley. Footage from surveillance cameras inside the building showed a suspect bringing numerous garbage bags outside, and the images matched a suspect captured on video at the post office in Côte-de-Neige. Police searched apartment 208, which Luka Magnotta was renting. He moved in 4 months prior, and his rent was paid up to June 1. Blood was found on different items including the mattress, the refrigerator, the table, and the bathtub. Chillingly, the words "if you don't like the reflection, don't look in the mirror, I don't care," was written in red ink on the inside of a closet. On May 30, 2012, it was confirmed that the various body parts belonged to the same individual, and later would be identified as Lin Jun. The suspect in the case was quickly identified as Luka Magnotta, who had by then fled the scene. Like a scene from the movie Seven, a note was found with the package sent to the Conservative Party, stating that a total of 6 body parts had been distributed and that the perpetrator would kill again. Notes were also included in the other 3 packages, but police declined to disclose their contents, citing concerns about possible copycats. On June 5, 2012, a package containing a right foot was delivered to St. George's School and another package containing a right hand to Falls Creek Elementary School in Vancouver. Both schools opened as normal the following morning. It was confirmed that both packages were sent from Montreal. On June 13, the four limbs and the torso were matched to Lin Jun using DNA samples from his family. On July 1, his decapitated head was recovered at the edge of a small lake in Montreal's Angrignon Park after police received an anonymous tip. The manhunt begins. An arrest warrant for Magnotta was issued by the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal, which was then later upgraded to a Canada-wide warrant by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Magnotta was wanted on suspicion of the following crimes: first-degree murder, committing an indignity to a dead body, publishing obscene material, mailing obscene, indecent, immoral or scurrilous material, and criminally harassing Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and several other members of Parliament. On May 31, 2012, Interpol issued a red notice for Magnotta at the request of Canadian authorities, and for several days before and after his arrest his name and photo were displayed prominently at the top of the homepage of the Interpol website. Magnotta flew from Montreal to Paris on May 26, using a false passport under the name Kirk Trammell. His cell phone signal was traced to a hotel in Bagnolet, but he had left by the time police arrived. Pornographic magazines and an air sickness bag were found in the hotel room. Magnotta had contacts in Paris from a previous visit in 2010, and police were following a large framed man who had been in contact with Magnotta. Another man he stayed with for 2 nights did not realize who he was until he had left. Magnotta then boarded a Eurolines bus at the Bagnolet coach station bound for Berlin, Germany. On June 4, 2012, Magnotta was apprehended by Berlin police at an internet cafe in the Neukölln district while reading news stories about himself. He tried giving fake names before admitting who he was. His identity was confirmed through fingerprint evidence. Magnotta appeared in a Berlin court on June 5, 2012. According to German officials, he had not opposed his extradition. There was sufficient evidence to keep him in custody until extradition, and he agreed to a simplified process. On June 18, 2012, Magnotta was delivered to Canadian authorities in Berlin and flown to Mirabel International Airport, north of Montreal. The aftermath. Reactions in China were highly critical, with some believing the murder was racially motivated. Some Chinese questioned public safety in Canada, as the killing was the second high-profile murder of a Chinese student there in slightly over a year. On June 4, 2012, Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper said he was pleased that the suspect was arrested and congratulated the police forces on their good work in apprehending him. Interim Liberal Party leader Bob Rae said that Canadians should mourn the victim rather than in any way, shape or form celebrate Magnotta's notoriety. 2 days later, Lin Jun's family arrived at Trudeau Airport, in Montreal. The Chinese Students and Scholars Association of Concordia University established a fund to support Lin's family while in Canada. A candlelight vigil was held in Montreal. Magnotta was named Canadian Newsmaker of the Year by Canadian media, which sparked outrage and controversy. Imagine the feelings and emotions of the victim's family when they saw this. A heartbreaking and bitter pill to swallow for sure. On July 16, 2013, Edmonton police charged bestgore.com owner Mark Marek, with corrupting morals, a rarely used obscenity charge, for posting the One Lunatic One Ice Pick video, online. Bestgore.com has since been taken down. Legal proceedings. On June 19, Magnotta appeared in court by video link, to plead not guilty to all charges. On June 21, Magnotta appeared in person, at a high-security Montreal courtroom, to request a trial by jury. A preliminary hearing began on March 11, 2013. The evidence presented was subject to a publication ban. Magnotta's defense team requested the media and the public be barred entirely from the hearing. This was declined the next day. Lin Jun's father, Lin Diron, traveled from China to attend the hearing. Expert witnesses testified, including a forensic pathologist, a forensic toxicologist, a forensic odontologist, a bloodstain analyst, data recovery specialists, and an internet investigations officer. The prosecution also displayed video evidence. Both Magnotta and Lin physically collapsed at separate times during the proceedings. On April 12, 2013, Luka Magnotta was indicted on charges of first-degree murder, offering indignities to a human body, distributing obscene materials, using the postal service to distribute obscene materials, and criminal harassment. The trial of Luka. The judge had set a tentative trial date on April 29, 2013. Magnotta elected to be tried by judge and jury. Magnotta is alleged to be the person behind a series of videos of animal cruelty involving cats which were posted to YouTube beginning in 2010. It included one titled "One Boy Two Kittens," which showed a man deliberately suffocating 2 kittens with a vacuum cleaner. Perhaps these were the beginning of where his twisted thoughts and reality stem from. Could these have been flagged up sooner? It turned out that animal rights activist groups had offered a $5,000 reward for bringing him to justice over these animal cruelty videos. In February 2011, Toronto police had began investigating Magnotta in connection with the videos, after formally receiving a complaint from the Ontario Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. The OSPCA also contacted the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals in England, the FBI, and police in Montreal due to the suspect's extensive travels. Alex West, a journalist for British tabloid newspaper The Sun, met Magnotta while he was living in London in 2011, following claims that he had made Python Christmas. This was an online video showing a kitten being eaten alive by a Burmese python, proving yet more clues and hints that not everything was all right with Magnotta. The Sun reporter did the right thing any sane and concerned person would do and contacted Scotland Yard in London. One must imagine the fear and perhaps horror that the reporter felt whilst interviewing Magnotta. Scotland Yard denied that the python video incident had occurred within its jurisdiction, stating that the video had been posted from somewhere in North America. That was the end of that. In December 2014, a jury found Luka Magnotta guilty of 5 charges, including the first-degree murder of Jun Lin. The court sentenced Magnotta to life in prison for murder, and handed him the maximum sentences for all other charges. Several defense psychiatrists testified Magnotta was schizophrenic and was in a state of psychosis when he killed Lin. Others, testifying for the prosecution, have said Magnotta had a personality disorder and had the capacity to know the difference between right and wrong on that fateful night in Montreal. Magnotta sat upright in the prisoner box, the same spot he'd occupied throughout the 10 weeks of witness testimony, shackled and wearing a coat. After the 8 women and 4 men who'd spent 8 nights sequestered emerged from the jury room, juror number 9, a community college professor dressed in a jacket and tie, stood to read the verdicts. Magnotta left his chair, standing to hear what the jury had decided for his future. "Guilty," the foreman repeated after the court clerk read out each of the 5 charges. After the verdict, the lawyer representing Lin's family asked for a brief recess to allow time for the father, who was at the courthouse for every day of testimony and deliberations, to call his wife and daughter who were back in China. When we recap such horrific crimes, it is easy to focus solely on the perpetrators, and sometimes forget the true victims of these crimes, which not only fall onto the actual victim, but also their entire families and loved ones. The lawyer went on to read an emotional victim impact statement from Lin's father in court. "In one night, we lost a lifetime of hope, our futures, parts of our past," he said. "We do not want to tell our story because it is too sad to repeat. We cannot talk much about Lin Jun without talking about his murder. The murder has robbed us not only of Lin Jun but our ability to think and talk about him without feeling pain and shame." Thanks for watching, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more gruesome crimes that shook the world.